Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of On the Flip Side. My name is Diana Lizarazo, and today's guest speaker is Jacqueline Francis. She is a mindset coach, and we have this show every Monday. The first Monday of the month, it is all about mindset, and every other Monday after that, it is all about real estate. Now, before we get started, I want to share some exciting news with you. I have a social networking platform for the real estate investing industry. So if you are a mentor, you are an investor, or you are a professional, you want to be a part of this platform, you want to be a part of this movement that's happening, because not only do you get to actually be able to share, for example, the kind of properties you're working on, or the ones you're selling, the ones you're fundraising, whatever stage of the property you're at, and be able to provide proper details. But also you can have that public calendar so you can see what other people are posting. You can post your events, and we just have such a supportive community. So another thing is, go check out Jacqueline's profile. You can see what she's up to, learn a lot more about her. Now back to the show. On the flip side, specifically today, it's all about mindset. And today we're specifically talking about how mindset will change our lives, which I think is so impactful. I'm so excited to have her on. So if you guys are ready, let's send her some thumbs up, let's send her some hearts, some fire, some happy faces. Let's get her pumped up to get on the stage. So I'm just gonna send her you see it? I'm gonna sneeze in a second. Oh, sorry. And hopefully she sees it. I'm gonna send it in a different way too, just in case. Oh no, it shows that you're there. It doesn't show on the other side that you got it. Do you see it, Jacqueline? Let me know. Let me know if you see it. We're gonna bring on Jacqueline. We're gonna talk about mindset, specifically how it impacts our lives, which is so exciting because there's a lot of control that we have in our lives, and we think we don't have control. So it'll be great to hear Jacqueline's opinion, her tips. And Jacqueline, did you see my request come? No, you didn't. Okay, sorry. This thing is delayed. Let me cancel it, and then I'm gonna do it this way. And then I'm going to go live. There we go. Let me do this one. It's trial and error these days. This whole month has been pretty bad, actually. Oh, there we go. We got you on.
Hi.
Beautiful background. I just don't see you. There you go. Hey, thanks so much for coming on. And before we get started, actually, let's just tell the viewers a little bit about yourself. I feel like we haven't introed you in a while. So for those that are new, definitely give them an intro. Let them know about yourself.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jacqueline Francis, and I'm a self-image coach. I help people find the light within themselves so that way they can shine their brightest and live the most authentic life possible. And it starts with how we see ourselves. The better and more positive that you can see yourself in that light, the better chances you are of having the greatest success that you can have for your life to expand and grow. So you can definitely, reach out to me when we're done all this. My information is going to be down below, and I'm so excited to get started with you today, Diana.
Awesome, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Yeah, so am I. And I think this is a great topic to start with. And so, what is your opinion on how we can, and even let's start with why. Let's start with actually why, what, or yeah, or what. I don't know. There's so
What?
many questions around
Yeah.
this.
What is
What,
mindset?
yeah, what it
Right.
is, and why we even care to change it. Like, what will it do for us?
Exactly. So mindset. What is mindset? Where is your mindset at? Is the way I look at it, right? We can have our mindset on looking at stuff. And again, it goes in line with perspective. If your mind is set on looking at life as if you are constantly being the one blamed for things, or if you're constantly looking at life from a lens in which things are always happening to you. So you're walking around with this mindset of, oh, why me? Why did these things happen to me? Poor me. I can never get ahead. Or do you have a mindset that's cultivated to say, hey, wait a second, this situation may have happened. What can I learn from it? So where is your mind set? What is it going to focus on? And that really is determined by us. No one else can tell us to have a positive or negative mindset. It's up to us to be able to cultivate what that is for ourselves.
I
What
love
what do you
that.
think?
Well, you know something that actually helped me understand it even more, which I kind of love this view of, was I don't know why this came up, but it was like, what is destiny? You know, you hear about people like, oh, it's destiny. I have no free will, basically, and I can't change myself. So, da da da, that's it, you know? Like, life is written for me, and that's it. Right? But then when I actually started really diving into it and they talk about, or they, not that I specifically went dive, but I'm hearing about it, I found it a great example actually of mindset. And so basically, what they say about destiny is that basically, if you decide that you're not changing anything of who you are, then your destiny is set for you. So if you
Mm.
have a bad attitude, you will get whatever those bad attitudes will provide you for the future. So your destiny is set. But if you decide, I want better for myself, I want to change these aspects of myself because I need to, because of my goals, right? I need to evolve and change to my what my bigger goals are. You are changing, you're evolving, and you are actually changing your destiny because now you're hitting to say bigger goals, newer vibrations, whatever people want to call it. But you're evolving and changing, and when you evolve and change, now you're changing your destiny. You're changing that view of who you are, and so I thought that was really a very interesting way of thinking about it because one, I mean, it helps you with the feeling like thinking that you can take control. Because I think
Yes.
a lot of people worry about like, oh, it's destiny. I don't have control. You do have control, and you decide where it is that you want to take that. And so that was something I wanted to share that kind of popped up as you were talking, actually. What are
I
your
love
thoughts?
that because I think a lot of people feel that they are the way they are and nothing can change. Like you hear a lot of people saying, or I've heard a lot of people saying, oh, that's just the way I am.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
kind of
it's just how
sad
it is.
because yeah, because they're basically leaving the universe to take control over them or their environment to take over them. I just wanted to give a quick shout out to the Bavaria, I think Bava man or
Baba,
Bavarian Bava, yeah, man. So he just sent us some fires. I just wanted to give him a little shout out.
he's amazing.
But yeah,
And
he is
another really
awesome.
amazing investor that knows all about mindset.
Yeah, he's very heavily into mindset too. And I think that's something that you'll start realizing people that are new into real estate or maybe been in it but never thought about it. I feel like the people that are moving up, leveling up, are people that are really interested in mindset. Like Dijon, they're also actually they're all about like mindset, I feel like with couples.
Yeah, Dijon's
Like
amazing.
getting
Diana, John, you guys are incredible. And can I just say we have Summit coming up on the 21st. So if you guys haven't got your tickets yet, please go to Dijon's website and to their IG page and check out what Summit, or you can go to www.summit.org and please check out what is exciting and new and what Summit is all about.
Mhm.
So,
It's gonna
mindset.
be
Like
fun.
when we think about where our mind is set to, we are literally calling in then the experiences of positive or negative into our life. If you're walking around thinking that, life, if you're playing like that victim mentality, that life is happening to me instead of for me, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunities. I just want to share my first experience with mindset. Like I was just living life. I was just living from the outside in. Everything affected me. I was very, what would you say, triggered by people, by circumstances, and I just thought that's the way life was
Mhm.
until I got into real estate. And I really started to see those quotes and understand that when you're an entrepreneur, oh my goodness, mindset is huge. If you do
Mhm.
not know how to look at things in a different way and really shift your perspective, you're going to be like walking around crying all day. Like it's just
Mhm.
how it is.
Yeah.
And I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, and that was one of the fundamental books for me on how two people can think, like what mindset is when you're looking at it from two different perspectives. He had one
Mhm.
dad, which was his original dad, that looked at the world from the view of education is important and you need to go to school and this is what it is and that's the only way. And then he had this other dad that he grew up with, his best friend's father, that showed him a different way. And it was like, no, you can build your own business. You don't really need school because look what I've done. And to be
Mhm.
able to overcome hurdles, you have to be able to cultivate that mind of yours to be able to look for the good in every situation.
I love that. And do you have any specific tips that you would like to give to help people to be able to have that perspective? Because it's very true, actually. The same thing happened to me. It was perspective change that I think really helped me move the needle forward a lot. So I'm curious, what are your tips for helping people to start changing their perspective or viewing, understanding other people's perspective?
I would say number one, like, start to read some books. Because I think when you start to read some really powerful books like Rich Dad Poor Dad or Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, I mean, there's so many. It really takes you from where you are right now to be able to give you a different way of looking at circumstances and situations. Get some books on, being an entrepreneur because when you have a 9 to 5 mindset, and that's what I had, right? I just worked 9 to 5, I go to work, I come home, and then I just want to relax and chill for the rest of my day. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I wanted more for my life. And when you're an entrepreneur, you are striving to build your business. You're putting your heart and your blood and your sweat and your tears and everything into growing this like product or this service that God has given you this idea to move forward into the world that's helping others. And it's very different having a mindset where you're the one in charge, where if you're not seeing sales, are you folding? Are you crying and saying, oh, I'm going to shut my business down? No. How do you keep going? So
Mhm.
books and number one, like start to get around communities and people that are entrepreneurs
Mhm.
and be open to just listening to something new. Just tell yourself, you
Mhm.
know what, I'm going to be open to trusting there's something better for me. Or how can I look at this in just a different way than how I've always been looking at it? And all it is, and you mentioned it, is a perspective shift. The minute we're able to switch our perspective and look at something from a different lens, life can change for you so fast. It's like put on
Mhm.
those glasses because the ones that you're seeing with right now are only showing you what you're used to. Put on those other glasses just to see what else is out there because there's so much possibility that we are not even tapped into yet. But mindset and cultivating a positive one is just the beginning to have all those possibilities show up in your life.
Mhm. I love it. And I completely agree. And something that you actually also said, which usually is the spawning of change, is like you said, sometimes like when things are like your life is good and you're just chilling and watching TV, or maybe you're at the beach all the time, but there's only so much time that you're like, but you also want something productive in some way. And it doesn't even have to be a business, but you want there's always we are beings that want to evolve and change, be it a big grand change or smaller changes, but we actually don't really like to stay in this plateau type of environment. Like, be it maybe our children are like the ones like we want to help them evolve, be better or something, but there's always something in us that wants to change. And and the reason I'm saying that is because when you get to that state of boredom, or even maybe gets further to depression, this is a really cool tip. That's something I found out from a book. I can't remember, something imagination. But curiosity, the ability to ask questions and be curious about life, is actually a cure for depression. So if you have depression, that is actually a cure. And not only that was just a tip I wanted to give if you do have depression, because I thought that was so fascinating, because actually depression and curiosity cannot be in the same in your mind together.
Wow.
So if you want to actually heal yourself, you actually have to start asking a lot of questions. And how does that help? Perspective. If you want to understand other people's perspective, you want to build that curiosity inside you and be like, why is like, not maybe not why, because they always say why is not a good question to ask, is that, but like, let's say, what makes you think that way? What is like the cause of that? Or
Mhm.
really getting to know their mindset, their perspective, because always when you dig deep enough, you realize that you're putting your prejudgments to things, and you're not actually seeing their perspective. And so that was something that, and it also helps you, I feel like, with like how you're saying before, like if you're getting frustrated with someone, like they don't understand you, it's because actually you don't understand them,
Yeah.
right? And
Oh, I
so
love that.
so then having that curious mind is so important. Asking those questions so you can get their view and you start actually seeing their perspective, because they're telling you what they see, why they're seeing the way they're seeing things, so that either you're pivoting and changing, or now, you're not getting frustrated because you're like, oh, I totally get that. Makes so much sense for your life. And now you're not getting frustrated by it, or whatever it is.
It's a doorway. Really, it's a doorway into so much more if you're able to bring yourself there. Because honestly, Diana, there are a lot of people that don't want more for their lives. They
Mhm.
think what they have is it. And
Mhm.
they're not exposed to communities or people that can show up in a way to show them what's possible.
Mhm.
I still believe that there are thousands of people that are still believing that the way they are is fixed and
Mhm.
that they're not able to change how they are. Like that saying, right? You can't teach a dog new tricks. That needs to go out of the door. Whoever came up with that was wrong. Because you can teach anybody anything as long as they're
Mhm.
willing to learn, as long as they're willing to open up their mind to see the possibility in learning that thing.
Yeah.
You're never too old to learn or understand anything. It just comes down to you as a person and what you want out of this life. If you
Mhm.
want more and you seek that curiosity to know more, you can definitely shift your mindset. There are people that I've seen in communities that are 50, 60, 70 years old that are starting to understand the mind and how powerful it can be, right? When we break down our mindset and think about it on in a level of being a conscious and subconscious mind, our conscious mind being the mind that is the rational mind, the thinking mind, the mind that gets the ideas, that has the ability to accept or reject an idea. And we go deeper in the second level of that, which is our subconscious mind. That is where all of our programs and our patterns, our self-image is stored. That is the part of the mind that will seek to prove you right. So
Mhm.
that quote that goes, if you think you can or you think you can't, you are right. Whatever you choose to believe, your subconscious mind will go to prove you right. So when we're
Love
talking
that.
about, yeah, right? So when we're talking about the actual mind and where our mind is set to, if you have a growth mindset, you're constantly focused on, not constantly, let me rephrase that. You are more likely to look at what can shift in my life. You're open to possibilities. You're open to change. You're open to taking responsibility for your life. If you have a fixed mindset, you're there, your mind is set to, well, things are happening for things are happening to me. Why is this happening to me? There's nothing else. What else can go wrong in my life? You're not open to change. You're looking at it.
Excuses is the very best one to show. If you're
Yeah,
making excuses, blaming the outside world, you've got a fixed
right.
mindset, or at least fixed in that specific area of whatever it is.
Exactly. Exactly. And then remember, how you do one thing is how you do everything.
Mhm.
So even if you're like, my mind is looking at something only in this area of my life, I'm sure it extends to all the other areas in your life. If you look at something in one way, or you're closed to any other possibility of change or of welcoming new things into your life. I always say you got to try something. Like you have to try something to know it's for you. There are many people, I've been approached by a lot of MLM businesses. And I was very like, oh, I don't know. I felt really icky about it. But I was like, wait a second. Like, am I being fair to myself? Because at this point in my life, right, the past doesn't exist. Okay? Whatever has happened before, um, it's done, it's gone. And if it doesn't live in my memory, it really doesn't exist. So sometimes you have to take action from the place of where you are right now instead of saying, oh, well, you know what, I tried it 10 years ago, it didn't work. Well, hello, who were you? You were not the same person you were right now than you were 10 years ago. So be open and be willing to try new things. So I tried, like, I'm like, okay, maybe this MLM stuff will work. And, I jumped into a business and I seen the community, they seemed amazing. But then I realized it wasn't it really wasn't for me. But I didn't shut it down by saying, oh, no, no, and then based it on my previous experience, right? We all, I think,
That,
tend to
that's
do
a
that.
That's a very good point. We do judge our past and make decisions on our past where, like you said, are you really the same person? And that makes me remember of a time for me when I got into real estate and without realizing, I was actually, because of the coach at that time, even though he was an investor coach, there was a mindset component and I didn't really take the mindset piece anything more than just like I feel super pumped. I'm
Yeah.
like I feel super pumped. It's a really way, and it was at the end of the week, so it was like a really great way to like end the week off because you just get like hyped up for like the next week or something. But it was actually after the fact that I was just like, someone made me realize everything that I had accomplished. And I was like, the old Diana would have never been able to accomplish what I've accomplished now.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, I would not even be making the kind of decisions
Mhm.
that I make now at the past. That old Diana would be like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
What are you doing? You know? So I think that's very, very important what you're saying. Like, do not use your past as an example of what you should be doing now because especially if you get into mindset, you start evolving and changing your mind, exactly what you're saying. You're making your decisions on a totally different mindset. You're opening up your views on different things. And in the past, you may have only seen one door. Now you're probably seeing 20. And now you're like, oh, I have options because you've opened
Yeah.
up to what
Yeah.
the realities are like, the
Hmm.
realities that you want to see.
And I just want to
Um,
bring in the law of attraction for a second, as you mentioned that. When we start to see more possibilities show up in our life, because we then start to become an energetic match to those possibilities, because now we've opened the door, we've opened the gateway to more coming towards us. Because when we close our mind and we're not open to possibilities, when we're not open to things showing up differently in our lives, we're like, nope, this is how it goes. Nope, that's it. Nope, I'm done. What I say goes. Like, we think we know, but we really don't. There's so much to uncover about our own selves and just about life in general. And when you open up that door to possibility, you're right. You're bringing in, you're then attracting the possibilities to you as well. As you're moving towards it, it's moving towards you. So law of attraction states like attracts like. And when you're an energetic match to certain things, more things start to come to you. But it really starts with yourself, going within your mind, your body, and focusing on what it is about you that you need to change. Because the minute you change from within, the things outside of you will start to look different. So there's another quote that says, and I think me and you have talked about this before, what you see change it. When you change what you see changes,
oh, love that. Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
So the world is not going to shift and all of a sudden, we're going to have this outside in your reality, it's going to look completely different. But your lens that you're going to wear every single day is going to make the world around you look different because you feel different.
And I just wanted to add on to that, where we're talking about the perspective and that curiosity, that also should be happening to you. Be curious about yourself, right? Like the example you're giving, like you attract like-minded people. And if those people are people that you don't like to see around you, that's a good question to be like, what am I projecting out? Because they're basically letting you know, hey, this is what you're projecting out. Okay, I need to change, adapt, evolve, because this isn't what I want anymore. I'm looking for something different. And those are great indicators for you to be like, okay, I need to evolve, I need to change, I need to adapt because I'm attracting this and I'm done with that. I'm ready to move on. And
Yeah.
so now you're like a little switch comes on. Anytime you see that, you're like, oh, mind, change that up, positive into whatever different direction you want to go into now. So even bringing that curiosity to yourself, like being a curious person, I feel like just helps in the whole learning aspect of any, like you yourself and the outside world of just understanding other people's perspectives.
Yeah, exactly. Because your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So if you're starting to
Mhm.
hang out with people and you're like, whoa, this doesn't feel good, I'm not really sure if I belong. Well, what is it then you need to ask yourself about you that brought these people? Were you also negative? Were you at one point complaining all the time? Because everything outside of you really does reflect who you are and what you feel about yourself internally.
Mhm.
And the change really happens from within. And this is where
Mhm.
mindset is so huge. Being business owners, right? If we do not have and cultivate a positive growth mindset, it is going to be so difficult for us to move forward with growing our businesses. Do you think some of these huge companies like Amazon or Apple, like if those CEOs and owners did not have the type of mindset that they needed to move their business forward, like think about it, like when Apple came out, like no, like people couldn't even fathom what these phones were like. Or when Amazon first started making deliveries, right? It revolutionized the way we shop. It revolutionized our phone. But they had to believe in themselves in order for other people to get on board with it. Why? Because they had to cultivate a positive mindset. If they were like, oh, I'm going to put this product out, oh, I don't know if anyone's going to believe in it, I don't know if anyone's going to buy it, like you have to be your biggest supporter and cheerleader. If not, like you're projecting that out into the world and that's what you will get back.
100%. And again, even adding on to that is that point of view of you're going to go through those bumps and challenges of not seeing what you want to see because again, it's a reflection. You think like, oh, for example, I want a blue house. I really want a blue house. You see that blue house, you're like, oh, I didn't want a blue house. What do you mean? Or I actually wanted a blue house with 2 stories and it was just 1 story. So it's like also again, that curiosity is so important and so impactful to continue, right? Because it's like you will learn about yourself. You're like, oh, I should have been a little bit more descriptive about what I wanted, or I thought I wanted this, but it's actually not what I
Yeah.
wanted. And
Yeah.
not getting discouraged by it and just being like, oh, I tried this and nothing happened. It didn't go well. And it's just like maintaining that curiosity. Why did it not happen? Where am I failing? Where are my thoughts at? That's stopping this from happening. It's like that curious mind is so important to be able to push yourself to where you actually want to be. Because if you slowly keep on maintaining and changing your point of view and continue to be curious about yourself, you will become that person that was a wish to you, a dream to you. You will become because you're slowly digging and learning and evolving to find who that is.
And something that just came to me as you were speaking, a curious mind is a changed mind,
Mm-hmm.
right? That is how we get to change our mind as well. Once we start to tap into the curiosity of the potential that there's more for us.
Mm-hmm.
And, for me, becoming an entrepreneur is really what opened up the door to mindset that helped me change my life to become a coach and to help others see what's possible for them. Because I didn't know. I'm like, could somebody teach this to me like 20 years ago, 30 years ago?
I mean,
I did not
right? I'm
know.
like, why isn't this in schools? I don't understand.
Yeah, I know. And I was thinking like, I had to take this journey to become a real estate investor in order to find my passion and purpose, coaching and changing people's lives through, helping them see their potential. Imagine if businesses could incorporate more mindset work and help their employees shift their mindset. Because I remember having to go to work sometimes and I hated my job, this one job in particular. I hated it. I couldn't. I started to get sick every time I would think about having to go on Sunday night to Monday. And I'm like, if they just had like a session or a meetings or something where they can focus on mindset and help the employees understand how important they are to the company. Just help them to just navigate their mind and show them what's possible for them instead of just, oh, you got to work for me. This is what you got to do, rules and regulations. And there you go. You're done. Like come back the next day kind of thing. It doesn't work. Like businesses need to incorporate mindset coaches, mindset workshops. That way they can retain more of their employees once the employees start to really understand more about themselves and why it's so important to be a part of this business. As they grow, you grow.
I love
Value
that. Yeah,
value, right? You got to
I
bring
love
value
that.
to people's lives, even in the type of jobs, whether it's 9 to 5 or whether automatically entrepreneurs, like mindset comes along with being an entrepreneur. Like it just, everything that when I started to go on Instagram for our business page, that's all I would see. Like just how it is to cultivate the mindset and what you need to think about and shift to be able to grow your business. But you don't get that in a 9 to 5. And if we can focus more on that, I think, the society will be so much better and so many more people will be walking around happier.
It's so true. It's funny how you get into ventures, entrepreneurship, or like that. We're in real estate, started in real estate, where that's where you get your in on mindsets, where you have these coaches that really understand the importance of it. Where, like you said, but we don't see it in the schools, where it's like, I feel like, imagine the kind of people we would be if we started from preschool already learning about mindset.
Oh,
Like, can't imagine how evolved we would be as human beings. We'd probably be like
I
flying in the air. I don't
know.
know. Like
But then
insane, the
again,
kind of people we'd
it,
be.
it also goes to show you, do they want, how much does the higher ups want, people to be empowered? And that's a whole different other conversation.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel like I could go on forever on that, but I did want to. Yeah, I'm not gonna even touch it because I'll just like keep saying a lot. But I did want to say though, another thing, it's kind of like a little story that came into my mind. And this is, I would say, for taking action. So you guys start taking action and just evolving and changing, being that curious person. I just want to share the story that I found. I don't know if you guys have seen it online, but I love it. I think it's a great example where there's two people, must be like a some type of professional, and then another person asking a question, and the person asks, how much like verbal abuse do I need to take from my family members, from like my friends before I cut them off? And then the
Oh,
response of the professional was, how much poison do you take from a snake before you cut off his head? And I was just like, that is such an amazing thing. Why are you stopping yourself from doing things that will benefit you? Just go and take the action. Don't keep on being bored. Don't keep on being depressed. Don't keep on being angry at your situation. Just take the actions, figure out, start learning about yourself, figure out who you are. Hire Jacqueline to help you out because I mean, a lot of us don't even know about much about ourselves. We do need that support to at least get us started on our path to actually learn who we are, to finally be doing the things that we actually want to do. Take those actions. So I kind of wanted to share that. What are your tips for taking action?
oh my God. Take the action, period. We can get stuck in the in between, which is trying to gain as much information because then we don't feel good enough or you just feel like you need more and more and more, but then you're stuck in that in between. Learn what you need to and take the action. And this is where I think inspired action will come. You will then be placed in environments, or people will come to you, opportunities will show up because now you've shifted into a person that's open, that's willing to have more things come to them, right? But you can't be afraid of taking the action. And another thing I would say is do not worry about the how things will happen. You just have to have the desire, whatever that is. Make $1 million, take vacations every year, quit your 9 to 5 job, whatever that desire is for you, you need to tap in and ask yourself, what is it that I want in this life? And it is possible, and know that it's possible for you. Don't get stuck in how is it going to happen. The how will show itself to you if you're committed enough to move forward in your desire. And this is again where it's important to hire a coach or get into a community of people that are going to support your dreams. Because there are too many people out there that are ready to give you a shovel to bury your dreams because they've buried theirs. And never talk to people that have not been doing what you want to do or have not gone where you're going. So I just want to share this too. Like, we've had people in our lives that they're doing less than us, but they're quick to criticize us for what we're doing. Isn't
Mm.
that isn't that crazy?
Well, you know
People
what
that
even
are
worse actually, and I think this is a parent thing that happens, is that my parents are actually investors. They also invest in properties, not to the level that I do. I've leveled up in that sense. But being protective parents, and again, I think this is the understanding perspective, right? I remember I was like in university, I made some money, and I'm like, oh, I want to invest it in a house because I've always seen my parents doing this.
yeah,
And my parents were, don't buy a house until you're with someone, you don't have enough money and a single income, all these things that they were telling me. Whereas, like, you guys invested, and not even that, like, my dad at least was already investing before he got married on one income, like, and it was just like, but I think because obviously I'm like their child, so they're like, we'll buy you houses and, give them to you because they just want to make sure we're fine. But it's just like also it's like you will have these kind of things. And I think one, I wish I did it sooner, but I didn't understand their perspective. Like now I see like they're just like, they see me as their baby. What can you do, right? They
yeah,
wanted to take care of me and make sure that I'm fully okay. And I'm sure being a girl also makes it even like more like they want to baby you. I feel like with a guy, they'd be like, yeah, go figure it out, if you dig the grave, that's your fault. I feel like with girls, they don't really do that. So, but it's like sometimes you gotta ignore those things, right? Because like that, like you were saying, like you've had people that don't have anything related to what you want. I actually had people that did have it, um, and still told me no, right? So then it's also
oh,
knowing
yeah,
who you need to talk to. Because like that, my parents obviously like parents are always going to talk to you in a much more conservative, wanting to protect you. Like
yes,
they don't want anything bad to happen to you. So even if, and I mean not all parents, because there are other parents that are much more entrepreneurial and they're like, yeah, go ahead. Or if you're a boy, they're most likely, yeah, go figure it out and whatever. But understanding the perspective is so important because I feel like at that time, if I just went and did it myself, I probably would have actually a lot more houses even than I have now just because I would have taken it. But I took my parents' advice very seriously because they are very well off people, and I could have started sooner. Not that I mean I do very well now, but it's just like understanding perspective is
it
such an
is.
important thing.
It is, exactly. And your example is so good because yeah, parents want to protect us, right? I mean, if you have the kind of parents that are supportive and loving, they want to do everything to help you not maybe, not make the same mistakes that they've made or, go down a different path, but you have to also be able to think for yourself, right?
Yeah.
Their mindset again is set to not maybe where you want to go,
Mhm.
and you have to be able to recognize and become aware of thank you for the advice, I appreciate you so much, but you know
Mhm.
what, like I'm going to do it in a
And even
different way and it's
knowing who you
okay.
are, right?
Yeah.
Knowing who you are helps you with that. Because another example, very short example I'm going to give you is I'm an electrical engineer. Let me tell you, my father did everything and anything for me not to become an engineer. Why? Because he's like, men are going to be so mean to you. You don't know what
Yeah.
that world looks like. It's such a scary world. You're going to be so stressed, all this stuff. I didn't care. I made sure to apply to every single university that had engineering, and then I just did one for him. Like here, this one's for you. If I really suck at getting up, into university, at least I have this one to go to,
Yeah.
right? So in that sense, in that area, I knew myself well enough that I could push. In real estate, it did take me more time to actually gain that confidence and decide to go into real estate. So it's also like, take the time now, get to know who you are. What are the things that you want? Because you will gain that confidence and you will push to get exactly what you like because you've built that confidence, um, and know yourself well enough to push yourself in the directions that you want to go to.
Exactly. So me and Diana can sit here all day and talk about, do all these things, but I really think for people that are really, really new to this and you want something different and you want something, grand for your life, you have to be willing to take the first step. So again, let me reiterate. Get some books, get some like self-development books and start to read them. Pay attention to what those words are teaching you. See how it makes you feel. From there, get into communities. Start Googling like, what communities that you have an interest in and start to challenge yourself by just being curious about life. And I'm telling you, things will open up for you and change in such a dramatic way, but you've got to be the one to open that door. No one else can do it for you.
Love it. I love it. So if you guys love what you heard from Jacqueline, then she's going to be tagged on here and you'll be able to DM her. You can check out her profile on REFAM. You can learn more on her there too. And if you loved what you heard from me, you want to know what I'm up to these days, then you can definitely follow me here. And also you can check me out on REFAM too if you want to learn a little bit more about me. Jacqueline, thank you so much for coming on. It's always so much fun to have you on.
This was an amazing conversation, and I hope everybody was able to take away some golden nuggets because this was a good one. We shared some amazing tips, and please, guys, if you're looking for change in your life, it starts with you. In our expansion, we expand from within. Thank you, Diana, for having me. It's always my pleasure to be here with you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming on. We'll see you all in the next episode. Bye everyone.